I would just keep on trying and trying to implement new habits, trying to make new resolutions, but it was just no use. Actually, things would go well for a little while, but after some time, everything I was trying to build would just come tumbling down like a house of cards. Then I would try again the next day and the day after that. I would motivate myself again. I would just get back on track. Just repeat myself that this time, I would not back down. This time I would just give all I have because this time, I couldn't fail. I couldn't possibly fail. But guess what? I failed anyway. And it all turns into a depressing chain of events, a vicious circle. Yeah, it became a routine I could no longer escape. I was trapped in it. And the more I failed, the less I believed in myself, which wasn't fair. Because I got some real results in the short term. I started losing a few pounds and doing a lot of sports every day. Objectively, I really had a better lifestyle. But then again, it always ended the same way. After a while, my body just couldn't take it anymore. My mind started relaxing in its efforts. It would always begin with a small concession, but then there was a bigger one and an even bigger one. And when my mind remained strong, it was my body that failed me. I just felt terrible. I felt incredibly tired all the time and I suffered from massive headaches. Sometimes I just couldn't get up and I stayed in bed all day. Of course, the pain was a message sent by my body, which was trying to tell me that I wasn't doing the right thing because I was asking for too much too quickly and my body just wasn't strong enough to take it. And of course, when you try to ignore a signal, you can be sure that the signal just won't stop. The messages will get bigger and clearer until the day when you just won't be able to look away anymore. Because at one point, it's just too painful. It just becomes impossible to go on the way you do. And then, at this point, I would just get scared. Actually, I would realize how unbalanced my attitude was, and then I would try to counterbalance my excess, which would lead me to another excess. For example, I would no longer exercise because I felt worried about the headaches, and ironically, I would honestly start fearing for my health because deep inside, we know when we are hurting ourselves. Or sometimes I would just eat as if my life depended on it, just to try and trick my body, sending myself the message that there was no need to resist anymore, because I was done with all the efforts and pain. That was a weak move, and a desperate one. But I just needed my body to stop fighting me, because that's exactly how it felt like. My body was resisting change and making me pay for treating it so badly. Except that I was wrong. My body wasn't fighting me. I was fighting my body. I was treating it as if we were not one but two distinct entities. As long as I can remember, I've always been a bit impatient. I call that the New Year's Day syndrome because it means that I've always wanted to change everything at once. And there are valid reasons for that. Life is short, and I'm aware that there are so many things that I want to do before I die. And because, it's just so spectacular to just entirely turn your life around in the blink of an eye. So one day, you just do everything wrong, and then midnight comes, and you magically turn into an incredible superhuman who just does everything right. But of course, things don't go that way. And I know that I'm just not the New Year's Day kind of girl. And clearly, this fantasy completely ruined my self-confidence because I would just keep on failing time after time, and then came reproach, guilt, sadness, anger, disgust, and the need to become somebody else. anyone else because I wasn't equal to my ambitions. I wasn't good enough. I was just stuck with all those negative emotions, the kind of emotions that make us feel really small. And it was the opposite of what I was looking for. I was making things worse instead of improving them. And it's a really strange feeling. So yes, lately I realized that all those attempts had drained me, not just physically, but worse in my head and in my heart. With each failure, I just needed to dig a little deeper within, just to try again and eventually fail again. And I got to the point where I really felt disillusioned, sad, empty. As a result, I now feel that I just need to put myself back together. Because I've tried too hard. I somehow mistreated myself instead of listening to myself or taking care of myself, of treating myself with kindness. I did the exact opposite. It's funny because I truly meant well. Today, I want to talk about what I've been through because I'm ready to try again. I know that giving up or feeling sad and weak forever is not an option. There are things I want to work on. I want to redesign my life in a beautiful way. I don't want to erase everything and start anew. I don't want that anymore and it feels great. That's why I don't wish for a tornado in my life anymore. I just want to feel a cool wind of change to help me spread my wings so I can move on with my life. In this video, I would like to remind you how important it is to choose yourself, to take care of yourself. And if you decide there are things that you want to change in your life, then go for it. But do it step by step, because life is not a race, it's a journey. And moving at your own pace doesn't mean you're less determined. It just means that you know yourself enough to respect your rhythm. And keep that in mind. It doesn't matter how slowly you get started. What matters is the quality of your journey. And in fact, no one knows how far you can get. But personally, I'm pretty sure that if we could all just get started, we would be truly amazed in the end by how far we actually get.